Now we have some developing news with the UK Supreme Court having ruled that the Northern Ireland Protocol, which creates a trade border between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK, is lawful. In a shock ruling, the court unanimously rejected an appeal by unionist politicians who claimed a border down the Irish Sea breached the Acts of Union and the Northern Ireland Act. What does this mean for Brexit and what does it mean for the people of Northern Ireland? Well, we're joined in the studio by the former First Minister of Northern Ireland, ex-leader of the DUP and, of course, GBNews star Arlene Foster. Arlene, great to have you on the show.
Thanks,
Can I get a quick word from you before we get to this on the decision or the debate within the Church of England to diminish the pronouns of God and no longer referring to our higher power as he, him?
Well, as an Anglican, I find it very sad, very distressing, actually, that we're spending time at General Synod talking about whether God the Father is actually a he. And I think for a lot of us, our faith is the one certainty in life. And now that's been challenged by the very people who should be actually leading us in our faith. And I think for a lot of Anglicans across the UK, that is incredibly destabilising and it's incredibly hurtful. And I think that the leaders who are actually having this debate need to think about what they're doing to their faithful who are in their churches every Sunday and who do see God as God the Father. I mean, from my own personal point of view, I will never say anything other than our Father who art in heaven. So, I mean, that's not going to change at all.
No, and it's pretty arrogant of this generation to think that they can rewrite the Bible.
No, it's incredibly arrogant. And I think the point about the Bible is that it is a holy word, it's scripture, and therefore it doesn't change. Regardless of what happens in society, the Bible doesn't change. But what is hurtful is people trying to reinterpret it, re-image Christianity to be more inclusive, instead of which they're losing faithful people because of the actions that they're taking. And I think they really should be reflecting on that.
So today you were at the Supreme Court.
Yes.
They've ruled that the Northern Ireland Protocol, which places a border down the Irish Sea, a trade border, not an invisible one, by the way, that it's lawful. What does this mean for the people of Northern Ireland?
Well, I think as a group of politicians, we wanted to bring this case to see whether or not the protocol was lawful, whether it breached the Act of Union, which is the very formation of the United Kingdom, and whether it breached the Northern Ireland Agreement of 1998, which is Belfast Agreement.
You had a case because it splits the country up.
Yeah, absolutely. And so today, the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, has confirmed that the withdrawal agreement, which contained the protocol, actually modifies the Acts of Union and modifies the Belfast Agreement. And we're always talking about changing the Belfast Agreement and how it's sacrosanct and how you cannot change it. And here we have the highest court in the land saying, actually, Parliament did change it with the Withdrawal Act.
What are the implications going forward? We have the 25th anniversary of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement coming. Is a resolution of this issue likely?
Well, I think what the court has done today is give us constitutional clarity on what the protocol does to those of us who live in Northern Ireland, that the Belfast Agreement has changed, the Acts of Union have changed. The Acts of Union, the part that has changed is actually the fact that we are on the same economic benefits as Great Britain. So that has changed because of the protocol. And that we're now asking the government, how are you going to change this? How are you going to fix this? You told us, Boris Johnson told us, that the Act of Union hadn't been changed. We were told that there was no Irish sea border. And, of course, the highest court in the land has said today that's actually not true. There has been a change. Therefore, the government have to act to deal with this. And the only way I think they can do that is through legislation.
It would have been a game changer for the DUP cause, for the unionist cause, for this to have been declared unlawful today. So is it not a setback?
No, I don't think it is. I think what it does is that it gives us the clarity that actually the protocol does change the Belfast Agreement, it does change the Act of Union. Now we move into the political sphere and say, what are you going to do about it? Because you lead Rishi Sunak, the Conservative and Unionist Party. So therefore the duty is on you to make sure that those of us who live in this part of the United Kingdom are as British as anywhere else.
Yes, I mean, exactly. It confirms that the Act of Union has been changed. It just points out that it's lawful, but that doesn't say that it's a good thing, and that's the point.
No, that's the point.
Yeah, and so looking to Downing Street, we're going to need leadership from Rishi Sunak. Will it come? Do you trust Rishi Sunak stand up for the people of Northern Ireland?
Well, I mean, I'm on record as saying I don't think Rishi Sunak has the same passion for the United Kingdom as some of his predecessors. But I have to say, this clarity that we got today should be very concerning for him. What it's saying to him that the sovereignty of the United Kingdom in Northern Ireland, we have laws coming from Europe, which we don't have any say in, by the way. They're just made over our heads and we have to apply them in Northern Ireland. And therefore, the European Court of Justice will continue to have writ in Northern Ireland, which is a part of the United Kingdom.
Your leader was there today, the leader of the DUP, Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, who has outlined his 7 tests. Do you think that there's a chance that they can all be fulfilled? Or do you think that the DUP and the unionist community need to compromise in some way, and if so, how? Well,
look, it's very clear. The way to deal with this is to put Northern Ireland back into the internal market of the United Kingdom. As citizens of the UK, we expect nothing less. And if that is done, then there will be no difficulty in relation to the European Court of Justice, because they will not have writ in Northern Ireland if we're part of the UK internal market. So the jurisdiction of the European Court comes from the fact that we're outside, if you like, of the internal market of the UK, and we're in the single market of the European Union. It's quite technical stuff, but I think it could be dealt with if there was the will, and if there was the will, not just in London, but in Brussels as well.
And, of course, what's worrying is that by sitting on our hands in the way that we have for months now,
yes,
we risk restarting the Troubles and losing that hard-won peace.
No, I don't think we do. I think what is happening in Northern Ireland at the moment is that there isn't devolution, and therefore, of course, the Belfast Agreement is not working properly. And, of course, we all want to see the Belfast Agreement working properly and devolution back in Northern Ireland again. But that can only come when the constitutional position is made clear again. And today we've had clarity as to what the protocol means. Now the government has to act to deal with all of that.
There are, though, tensions within the unionist community. People are angry, are they not?
People are angry. People are angry, but as I always do, I urge them to look to politics to solve this issue and to keep talking, because that's so important.
I've got a really easy one to finish off with. I know you've got to go. What's going to happen?
If only I knew that, I'd have my crystal ball out, Mark. But I do hope that the government will read this judgment today. It's a very important judgment, and that they will act on that judgment and actually share it with their colleagues in the European Union so they can see what the protocol is doing to the sovereign territory of the United Kingdom.
In standing up for the people of Northern Ireland, I wish you well.
Thank
Arlene,
you, Mark.
Always brilliant to watch you on the programme, and thank you for joining us on Ours tonight.